Anna.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the show. I am really excited to talk with you this morning.
So am I. Absolutely love what you're doing. Really excited to be here.
Thank you. As I was saying right before we hit record, I am extremely passionate about teaching, educating, and inspiring people to have a meditation practice, to increase their mindfulness, to become more present, both using informal and formal mindfulness. And I actually reached out to you when I saw Sensate and was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I want to learn more about it. I want to meet you and talk with you. And so I want to start off by asking, because the listeners of this show are busy executives, busy working professionals. A lot of them have young kids. Maybe they're taking care of elderly parents. They are juggling a lot. They don't have a lot of time affluence. They're very, people are busy. So your tool really, I think, is very beneficial for people. So I want to start off by asking you, how does Sensate support busy working professionals?
Yeah, I mean, it is really a tool for the modern person, if you like. I think there are so many of us that have stress in life, and very often work stress is part of that. And so I think in general, stress is part of life. The pursuit really isn't about removing stress from life. It's about finding tools to manage stress,
Yeah.
increase our stress resiliency. And I think that's really important because actually, if we are ambitious professionals, we will stretch out our comfort zone. There's nothing wrong with us for encountering stress in life, but we do need to be able to handle that stress so that we don't get all the negative effects, which I'm sure you talked about many times, because there's physical, really bad effects of stress and triggering the stress response. So I have a little Sensate here. So it uses infrasonic waves. You place it on your sternum and lie down. There's also a lanyard to sit up, put on headphones, start a session in the app. And it uses infrasonic waves. So it feels like a cat purr, but also it's similar to umming in yoga and just feeling this relaxing sensation in the chest area, and also sound, which is harmonized and synchronized with the frequencies and the infrasound. So it's very primal in a way. It is really in the science field of umming, and umming in yoga is to tone the vagus nerve. And so we find that this really works for people that a lot of people say they know they should be meditating and they know that this is good for them, but they're not really finding the time. And so since it isn't at all replacing meditation, it's quite the opposite. It's a quick way to get into a calm state. And personally, for example, like in the afternoons when I have startup CEO insanely hectic days,
Yes.
I have so much in my head. It's very difficult to get into a meditative state in the afternoon for me. So that's my use case. I use the Sensate in the afternoon really to get a maximum amount of recharge and relaxation out of those 10-20 minutes that I have. I still also have a meditation practice, but that tend to be before going to bed, etc. So it really fits into people's life. About 25% of our users use it actually before sleeping because they have sleep challenges, which a lot of people unfortunately do. I'm very grateful that I don't struggle from any sleep issues. So it ranges from optimizing. So for me, for example, I notice that if I don't take the Sensate break in the afternoon, I will hit a wall, and I do work
Mm.
longer hours than I recommend to anyone. But then just to get that nervous system recharge sometime in the afternoon really makes a difference for me. So it fits into a lot of people's life. Obviously, some people have severe stress and anxiety, use it for that. And some people, it's just in the optimizer field. They just want to improve heart rate variability, want to improve performance. So it's kind of everything on the range, and obviously very natural to the body.
Oh my gosh. Love it. And I think that really valuable. Immediately, I was thinking is a lot of people at that 3 p.m. mark, they might go grab a cup of coffee. They might grab something sweet. They might, because they're hitting that wall. And of course, you're spending so much time on screens or all of that. And so that putting that 10, 15, 20 minutes in the afternoon, um, And yes, sleep, so many uses. You talked about toning the vagus nerve. So when we are working all day long and we are getting those emails, getting Slack messages, on Microsoft Teams or Zooms, your boss is doing this, your client's this, and maybe your kids' school calls, right? Let's say you're working 8 or 9 hours, Monday through Friday, and you may be doing stuff at night, weekend, et cetera. What's that doing? Can you talk about the connection between this busy executive work life and our vagus nerve?
Yeah, the vagus nerve is one of the most important nerves in the body. It has a really broad range of functions. It helps control our heart, lungs, digestive system, sensory functions. Uh, the why we're really interested in it is because it helps counterbalance the fight or flight response. So a vagal nerve tone is actually how often electricity flows through the nerve, the actual nerve fibers that releases neurotransmitters. So what that means is how often are you sending a signal to counterbalance the fight or flight? So we have, as we mentioned, stressors all throughout the day. An email can cause stressor. And so the issue is not the stressor trigger, it is how our body responds to it. So when email comes through with something that we react to, it's not a message we wanted to receive. So poor or weak vagal nerve tone will then trigger the stress response, and that's where all the damage happens. The stress response, fight or flight, turns off immune system, digestive functions, reproductive functions, and prefrontal cortex, which is a fair passion for me because that is our conscious mind. So us really being human, making good decisions for ourselves and others around us is really prefrontal cortex, our conscious mind. So what we want is for the vagus nerve to trigger that counter response, which is like, wait a minute. Okay, this is the email that came through. What do I need to do about it? How do I want to react to it? This person might be having a stressful day. What should I do right now? It's really bad. Should I go and just look after myself, do a Sensate session, maybe not respond to this right now, but like kind of keeping the calm and not activating all these physical responses that then over time actually makes us sick. So that's really what vagal nerve tone is about. And my co-founder, Stefan, who ran the New Medicine Group in the UK, very prominent integrated healthcare clinic, they really came to the conclusion that with a lot of the very complex health conditions that came to his clinic, one of the most important common denominators for their recovery was good vagal nerve tone. So yeah, it's really central to our health and longevity and health span and all of that, and happiness.
Yeah, no, and happiness. I mean, I feel like it's like there's this, I talk about meds, which is meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep, but really understanding this, and you explained it beautifully, of being conscious about, working on your stress response. And I immediately thought of, it's not just the response to email, it's also the response to your parent or your sibling or your spouse or your kids. And human relationships, work and personal, are the number one predictor of happiness, but also can be a source of a lot of emotional, psychological. If you, all of a sudden send that mean email to your coworker, you just respond, or you react to your spouse and then you're in a fight for 48 hours, it's really about non-reactivity and that inner calm and peace for life, for everyone. This is for life. I just can't help think about the flow into personal life too.
100%.
So what is your advice? Because this question comes to me a lot for people who struggle with, I know I need to, you touched on this. I know I need to meditate. I know it's good for me. I know I have 5 or 10 minutes. It seems ridiculous that I can't, but I just can't sit down or lie down to do it. I spend 45 minutes scrolling Instagram every night. I know that's not good for me. I know I have 5 or 10 minutes. But what's your advice for people who want to make this a practice? They have the motivation, but they just can't, they haven't been successful in creating the habit or the daily ritual. What's your advice?
Yeah. Okay. This is a really good question. And yeah. So, because this is literally why this product exists. So Stefan was working in clinic, and as I mentioned, he got a lot of patients with very complex health conditions that have been to a lot of doctors and very often involved some original trauma or some continuous stressor that didn't enable them to get balance back in the body and sort of recover, or that caused the issues to start with. So because obviously trauma can trigger underlying genetical issues, right? So he was then really on a mission to try to like, how can I get my patients to also uh, um, heal their nervous system so that the other interventions that we're doing can be more effective. And we should mention as well that he did see, because he's been doing this work for over 30 years, that he did see a sort of patients falling off a cliff about 15 years ago, where patients just would not come back and have done what he prescribed in terms of meditation and breath works and so on. So he found from PTSD trauma work a larger kit that creates a resonance field around the body. So we had that in clinic and found that very, very effective with people. And that's why he started experimenting based on the anatomy, because this part of the body is already built to create a resonance field. That's why we Om in yoga. So we started to experiment with, was it possible to remove the larger kit and actually uses the body's natural resonance chamber, and that's sort of the origins of the product. And for me personally, who was originally an advisor, I was just fascinated and passionate about real implementations of frequency technology, because I think we're entering an era. I'm a geek, right? So we're entering an era where we
We
really
are, and
understand the
it's great.
frequency. Yeah. Nature of everything, of like matter of everything also, can be seen as waves. So this is like quantum physics as well as actual, definitely very much reality. So nothing fluffy there. But I was really interested in any real life implementations, and also really admire Stefan's work. And so I was just an advisor, and then we started, I helped get the first product to market and sold them to just get some usage data. And I had never seen anything like it. So the fact that people actually found it easy to use at home. And so why
Mhm.
is this? So there's a combination with, which Stefan saw a lot in the clinic as well. Mindfulness is amazing, but if you're feeling really awful, if your heart is racing, if you're anxious, sitting down and feeling those emotions initially might feel worse. If
Mhm.
you continuously do it, it might change. But the point is that instant gratification isn't there. And that's why a lot of people
Mhm.
don't actually continue to do it. It takes some discipline. It takes also, for me personally, to meditate. If I am in an absolute mess over something, just argued or something like that, like I'm not going to get into a real meditative state. And so, because Sensate is on a physiological level, it isn't quieting mind, doing things, feeling. It's just allowing this to go into your body.
Right.
And so it's a
It's
combination
actually
of,
it's the physical, right?
yeah,
With you
and
don't
it
have if you're
feels
all in your
nice.
head.
Yeah. So that's one part of it, which is literally why Sensate exists. The other part of it, if you actually have a Sensate, now what I'm saying is like that is the game changer for me, which I have not seen in this industry, which I'm so passionate about, because it means that we're able to help a lot of people that don't already have access to tools like meditation. And I'm really, really, really grateful to get to work with a product for that reason.
Mhm.
But for example, if there is a situation where you have a Sensate and you still would choose to look at Instagram, it's self-love. Self-love.
Mm.
Because why are you making this choice? Care about
Listen,
yourself.
everyone, just pause and take that in. It's self-love. It's taking care of yourself.
Hmm. Yeah, so I think that those are the two things, but because people feel the relief, that's why we see the usage uptake and the ongoing usage that we do. And that is what both Stefan and I are so passionate about. For every individual, every time they get out of stress state or fight or flight,
Yeah.
we have more consciousness on the planet.
Right. Right. So thank you for all of that. I'm going to switch a little bit since I've got to know you before this interview. You, in addition to vagus nerve and stress response and consciousness and everything we've been talking about, you are also very passionate about alignment, and it's all alignment, but in a different way. So one thing you said to me that I thought was very powerful and that people struggle with in this modern world is you said, I align my values with everything that I do. There's intentionality, there's connection to self, there's trust. And so explain to me how you align your values with everything that you do.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start by saying I'm still a mess, still work in progress.
Hey, we're all
But
a mess. It's called a human being. It's called a human
no,
being.
yeah, no claims to
A messy
perfection
life.
here. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think, yeah, it is a huge passion of mine, and it really is my personal journey. Like I find that aligning everything with values is actually oil in the machinery of a company. But personally, I could never ever work this hard and this much if it was just general technology. I worked in the tech field my entire life, and I'm really passionate about technology, but I know that every minute I'm putting work is helping people. And this is not just about what we do, but deeply caring about how we do it. How are we building an organization? How are we selecting who we work with and suppliers and all of that? And I think what can be paralyzing is to try to do it to perfect. And that's not at all the aim either, but there is some magic that comes out of just being connected to the values continuously. So, from a company perspective, there are always so many different ways of doing a single thing. And it doesn't, so it's not at all like, oh, we're going to do this thing that is not as good for the business because we want to stick to those values. Not at all. It's just having the connection to those values and how we're trying to do things.
Mhm.
There's always more than one option. And this one is going to be the route we go. And
Right.
then comes this magic extra energy and passion for the decision, even if you had to make a compromise. We try to not use plastic, but like sometimes we have to use plastic. It's not really like because we can't have a product that costs XYZ, but we know that we're on the direction of XYZ. We take those values into account. And for me personally, it comes down to how I spend my time, the
Yeah, I'm
people.
curious I want to hear about your personal life.
Yeah, okay.
Tell us about the values and personal alignment.
Yeah, so this work obviously for me is aligned with my values, and that's why I have so much energy and happiness for what I do by aligning, because I spend so much time working. And so I think that alignment is really important. But then it's also just where I spend my money. So for example, I had values, being young in the 80s, where we really were taught that it was stupid to fix something if you could buy a new for the same price. That was really the 80s indoctrination. And so to now, I go and fix a pair of leather boots and it costs almost as much as buying a new pair of non-quality boots. I feel great. I love these boots. I love the fact that I paid someone who devotes their life to fix
Fixing things.
boots and leather leather like cobbler, and that I haven't contributed to throwing more things away, and so I feel really good about that. Similarly, who I spend my time with, where I spend my time, and I really think about that, because energy flows easily in different directions, and very much how we spend our time. It can be it can be an energy drain, or it can really increase our energy and happiness. So and then how I spend my money, just being more considerate about, do I want money to flow in this way? And this question I think is magic, which is, when I pay for something, where anyone pays for something, say to yourself, I love you and I want you to thrive. Now,
You're
That's
saying when you pay for something, you're out at a boutique of this or,
yeah.
and wait, repeat it.
I love you and I want you to thrive. Now, if
You're
you're
saying
at a
that to the
farmer's
person in your mind or
in
with
your
your
head,
spirit.
yeah, to the
I love
brand, to the
you.
person you're shopping online, because here's what happens. If you are now shopping from this really friendly organic farmer and you're paying twice as much for the vegetables and you say, I love you and I want you to thrive, whew, you feel happy. If you go and buy from a brand that you know have got really poor values that are polluting the planet, all of that, and you say, I love you and I want you to thrive, there is an inner dissonance. So just that, and how much joy we get out of then spending money, because like it doesn't matter if it's $2. Like you can feel amazing by saying I love you and I want you to thrive, and give someone $2. That can feel amazing. And I think that's like really good abundance vibes as well. But I do also think that certain things where I find interesting, you have a lot of people that actually do have a lot of wealth that can spend an insane amount of money on certain things, but then, they go and get a massage and they bargain the price. And I'm like, no, this massage therapist, like, I want more people to take care of other people. Healers, coaches, massage therapists, all of these healers on the planet. I love you and I want you to thrive. Like, yeah, man.
Absolutely.
And then it is not about the amount. It is really about the energy and the feeling with the spend. And I'd rather eat less food than eat food that is bad for my body and bad for the planet. So I think it isn't about the amount. It really is about the energy, and not perfection. Again, it's just like, of course, have to buy plastic bottle of water because I'm somewhere and I'm really thirsty and whatnot. But
Like it's not,
I'm
no,
still aware,
I
about
liked how
like,
you said it.
it's okay.
Perfect. You said perfect is paralyzing.
Mm,
Um, your value of sustainability and care and stewardship is really, really beautiful. And I love you and I want you to thrive. That's the first time I've heard of it. I think many people listening are going to adopt it and take again and talk about that energy going out into the world.
that would be great.
So my last question is, what is in addition to everything you've talked about, what is a happiness habit that you have that you think people, should use? Or some the people that they should,
Yeah,
what's a happiness habit?
gratitude.
Gratitude.
Yeah, gratitude. And gratitude, I mean, like, just gratitude for um nature is something that I'm working on right now, because I work
Mhm.
so much in the outdoors, and then like nature spends its entire existence producing this beautiful flowers and beautiful birds and beautiful waterfalls, and just this miracle of nature, to just look
Yes,
outside and
I
like, I see you.
agree.
You're
I
beautiful.
agree.
It just makes you feel good. We're nature. We are nature. We forget sometimes that we're not part of nature. We are
We're
also
all
nature.
one.
And yeah, just the love I have in my life. Little things. It's the little things.
But it's gratitude. I have a very strong gratitude practice. And of course, there's so much research on it. Oh, Anna, thank you so much for this incredible interview. And I can't wait to meet you in person in California in the near future. So have a great rest of your day. And thank you for coming on the Arrive at Happy show.
You too. And thank you so much for the happy show. See you soon. Thank you.